I think it's more of like a part of me that gets unlocked. Before starting drag, I thought that to be a gay man, I had to be feminine. But unlocking this like hyper feminine side of myself has allowed me to also embrace my masculinity as a guy. I don't feel like I constantly need to be wearing crop tops or like constantly need to be proving to the world that I'm gay. Having Nemesis has definitely proved to me that like I am who I am and become very unapologetic about that.
London's drag scene is a force of creativity, rebellion, and reinvention. From the legendary queens of Soho to the underground performers making their mark, drag here is more than just performance. It's power. And at the heart of it, artists like Nemesis are redefining what it means to be fierce, fearless, and truly unforgettable.
Nemesis is the kind of drag queen I look up to.
Nemesis is the most fierce person I've ever met in my entire life. She honestly thrives. She literally walked into this club like she does own the place. Like she literally looks like she owns the place, and I love it.
It's giving fashion, but like dangerous, and I love that because she does not care how anyone feels about her drag. It's just giving fashion, period.
In terms of my drag inspiration, it's definitely just from the people around me, like my drag sisters, Eden, Victoria, and people who I've met in like the London scene. I definitely grab a lot of inspiration from just like the people around me in my environment. The first time I ever actually did drag was me and two of my now drag sisters were all living in costume store in our uni accom, and I'd just broken up with my boyfriend at the time and was having a really hard time about it. And then they're both seasoned drag queens, so they invited me over and just said as a way for me to kind of move forward and move past my ex that we could get into drag. I looked busted. It was awful, but just the whole experience of like the painting, the hanging out with my friends, and we didn't go out and go anywhere. We literally just got into drag in his room and then kind of came back, and it was so much fun. I had a really great time. The biggest misconception people have about drag is I think they think drag queens want to be women. So in myself, I know I'm a man. I personally have never questioned my gender, and I'm speaking for myself here and my own experience. But I think a lot of, definitely the straight community and people who don't know drag in the way that like drag performers and drag artists do, I definitely think that a lot of people will conceive it as the first step of a transition, where it's really not that. It's an art form. It's definitely like the same way that some people like to paint a picture, I like to paint my face. It's definitely scary, and you kind of have to build up the courage every time you want to leave the house in drag. It's a very well-known thing that it's quite a difficult kind of thing to do, to leave the house dressed up like that. But the backlash, I don't think there's any way to deal with it. You kind of have to deal with situations like that head on. There's no correct way. Just making sure that you have like a good group of people around you who you know will stick up for you and kind of help you along the way, and just make sure you're safe. I think that's the only way you can really combat that.
In London, gay clubs aren't just nightlife. They're safe havens where research shows risk drops and authentic self-expression thrives.
Like, the fact that here I can feel the most comfortable I've ever been in my whole entire life is the best I've ever felt.
I personally feel a lot safer at a gay club.
I think in a gay club, you also meet like very inspirational people.
Stepping into like a queer venue as a drag artist feels so powerful. All of the eyes kind of looking at you. You get so many compliments. It feels very like everybody's in your corner rooting for you. Everybody wants you to do well. Everybody loves the fact you're there. Everybody's happy for you that you've kind of stepped out the house in this makeup, hair, everything like that, which isn't easy to do. So everybody loves it. It's so fun. I see power. I see a bad bitch. I see a babe staring back at me. I just see my artwork. It's something you have to be confident in. If you're not confident, I think it will show. So I just see the power. I see a babe.
Drag is power. More than transformation, it's truth. In a city built on reinvention, artists like Nemesis prove confidence isn't just worn, it's owned.